Here's the thing.
Like post-release microtransaction add-ons?
No, not for that. Just
okay.
microtransactions in general.
Sure.
Usually the argument I hear, especially in games that cost money, because free to play, you get what you pay for. I get it. There's profit to be made. They got to do what they got to do. I'm more forgiving of that, but that doesn't mean you can't do a better job. Everyone's pointing at Warframe as the best free-to-play game because you really don't have to spend money, but they continually update it and they make a profit. So, like, that's out of goodwill, but that rarely happens. Usually, I'm seeing a lot more full-priced games that have microtransactions. Overwatch, I paid $60 on. You cannot tell me Blizzard didn't make money without microtransactions on that release. So the two arguments I hear, one of them is slightly justifiable, but one is the game ain't free and they need more profit. Okay, that's one. And I'm like,
no, they don't.
Overwatch, I used to defend it. And I was like, we're getting maps over time. We're getting new shorts. We're getting a community. So I understand where the money can go to. Okay? This was what Destiny's argument would have been if it wasn't for the fact you had to pay for every expansion.
Right.
But, like, $60 is not a lot of money nowadays. We kept the price the same for a long time while inflation went up and they're not making profits. My brain has a really bullshit answer, which is maybe we should just make games cheaper. And I know that's like an offensive thing to say nowadays, that the AAA market should maybe cut some corners, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like we're losing that gap between it seems like AAA games are getting worse and indie games are getting better. It seems like I can play an indie game that has visuals that are... I mean, did you play Hellblade? Or at least like look at footage of Hellblade?
No.
It's a pretty game. That game is probably better looking than Uncharted in some ways. And it's $30. It's a little more expensive, but it's 30. And it's... You can't argue production quality didn't, like, hit.
Right.
I feel like it didn't need microtransactions, just a little story. But it sold. It did well. Graphics feel like diminishing returns. And if graphics are what we're paying for, is that really worth it now? I mean, fuck's sakes, the Switch is out. We don't care about graphics as much, but then what is the AAA market going to? And if it's multiplayer and maps, you have an argument, but Splatoon exists. Splatoon's a one-time buy, and they continue to update it.
Also, the idea that AAA isn't making enough profit is just absurd, the AAA market, because you look at the games that are coming out, sure, the budgets are insane, but then how many millions of copies do you hear that they sell when it comes to these games? Multi-platform. And, basically take the number that they have sold, times it by 60, unless it's over a long period of time. That's what they've gotten. They're not hurting.
I understand the idea that a business's primary goal should be profit, but from a gamer standpoint, that's not my business. My business should be satisfaction from a product.
Exactly.
And I feel like when your microtransactions deliberately get in the way of said product and become unavoidable, then we have a problem. It's one thing to use it as a tip, but a lot of the times it's not a tip. A lot of the time the game is structured around it. And sometimes it ruins games. We have a multiplayer focus in console games now, and I don't think it's accidental. We have multiplayer because it's a lot easier to charge for that.
Yeah.
And now what's the trend that you see? These half MMOs. Not MMOs, just the half. It's like, we give you most of the way, but you feel a lot easier about buying a microtransaction with any multiplayer element that's in there rather than a single-player game. And I feel like that is the reason those games are being made.
When you say half MMO, or would you also throw Destiny in there?
Yeah. That is one of the games I was thinking of at the time.
The reason why I say it is because I was about to agree with you and everything, and like Shadow Eddie's going to get pissed at me again.
I like Destiny's a good game. This is a separate conversation of quality of game. And also, I don't think Destiny does it particularly horribly. I think Destiny 2 has handled it pretty well.
I don't think the original Destiny does it particularly well either.
Well, the original Destiny didn't have any. And then they added it later, and it was just dances.
Right. But they said that it's going to be an MMO, is what they said. It's going to be an MMO FPS.
This is a separate conversation. I don't consider Destiny to be an MMO. However, I do consider it to have a very strong online infrastructure. It's a good game. I'm not gonna... Taken King made it good. I really like what the expansion did, and Destiny 2 has fixed a lot of the problems. That's a separate conversation, but I do think Destiny has merit. It's from the guy that didn't play any of the expansions.
No, doesn't matter.
No,
the
it really
structure is what happened with
the
that.
structure entirely changed for the game. Is it an MMO? No, but what it is a satisfying game.
They had the DLC structure, the microtransaction structure, everything on there, but they structured it MMO-wise, where if you didn't keep buying, you were left behind. That's exactly what they did.
In terms of money, yeah, but I would argue it's just another way of doing it's another way of paying for patches. It's one bigger patch that comes out in a year, and you pay for the privilege of having the full patch.
Right. I'm just saying that's not truly 100% microtransaction, but I didn't like that pricing deal either.
Oh, I thought you were well...
No, I hated that pricing. I thought that was incredibly unfair.